Hello everyone, in the next video from Flashpoint campaign Southern Storm, back to an Autobahn too far scenario, and now it's about time to start deploying our forces. So first, let's decide where we are going to establish our defense line, and I think as I've said before, our main concentration will be around A7 highway or Autobahn actually. And we will be trying to create some kind of kill zone, mm, starting with the area of Dalkingen to Killingen down to Lauchheim and Westhausen. Some kind of a box here, of a kill zone. The problem is that the center is slightly higher ground and also quite nicely covered with trees and forests and so on. So that might be a problem. But still, if enemies tries to move westwards towards A7, Autobahn, and all of those objectives here, they can either choose to go along B29 highway, and this is actually highway and this is the Autobahn. So B29 highway, or just the road. I don't know, it's communal road or I have no clue. Some kind of road which is marked as K33 1A. So that's my guess. I suppose they will be trying to follow these roads, and also maybe provide some fire support from the ridges above those roads. So also they are Russians, so I'm pretty sure they will be trying to just penetrate our defense lines. I'm not going to make a mistake from the previous scenario, so now I'm going to concentrate most of my forces at one place, be able to provide interlocking or intercrossing fire fire support, mm, and what else? Of course, maximize as well my maximum effective range for mostly ATGMs at that point, since my tank battalion will be available in around 60 to 75 minutes since the start of the scenario. So we are relying heavily on mechanized infantry, which means relying heavily on ATGMs for now. Okay, so let me unfold the right tab. Oh, this is not very helpful. Okay, so we have Panzer Grenadier Battalion 302nd. We have under him two companies, or even four, but the one is the support company, and that consists of mortars 120 Tampella. Then we have Panzer Battalion 284th. That also consists of actually four companies, and those are what? Those are tank battalions. Yeah, I mean that's the tank battalion. Okay, so three tank companies. And next we have Panzer JG. I have no clue, and that's the anti-tank. I think it's a company, right? Three platoons supported by flag platoon, which is air defense section. Two Gepards available. Okay, and also artillery, which is placed off map. So maybe let's start with Panzer Grenadier Battalion 302 or 302nd. Mm, and where is your deployment area? Your deployment area is north. Okay, I would prefer to be more down south, but that's fine. Now a quick look at ATGM. What kind of ATGM? That's Milan, and for Marders it's also Milan. What its range? Maximum range. up to 2 kilometers only, which is 4 hexes. Okay, so we are turning on line of sight tool. Whew. Okay, that's gonna be a problem then. Mm, we could set up some defense lines around Rulingen. Now, well, I thought that maybe I could send them over here to that ridge. The problem is that the bridge is destroyed, but still I would be able to get in there. If I get in there, I should be able to provide nice fire support or keep Killingen under my fire control. Which would make sense, I think. Well, okay, the only good hex is that position. Any other good positions? That hex is also fine. That is mediocre, I would say. Okay, but still, we also can keep under control road L1060, and that's from the single place. Quite quite bold move, I would say, because we could also just station in Rollingen, or maybe try to capture uh, hills overlooking Rollingen. Of course, that doesn't provide us enough information about Rollingen itself, which might be quite ineffective usage of our infantry. What about Rollingen itself, if we place my units? Okay, that's the problem. So we can cover the northern approach, but we don't see much regarding the eastern approach. And I think I shouldn't be worried about Valheim area. I don't think they will try to attack from north. If they do so, well, that's my miscalculation, but at that point I don't think that that will happen, honestly. Also, we have a few interesting positions over here. What's that? Stubel Elwangen Hungerberg. Holy shit. I broke my tongue again. And actually from those two hexes I can see a lot. I can provide really a lot fire support. It's interesting. And also it's quite nice in terms of cover and concealment. Maybe not perfect, but decent enough. And how many? I have 3 platoons, right? And also one flag. Which is Stinger? 2 Stingers, okay. So Stingers, I would try to find the highest point, probably the ridge over here. Concealment 71, cover 64. If I turn on line of sight, look at that. Absolute perfection. This is a great position for my Manpat team. Uh, okay. So now it's the question what to do with my mechanized infantry platoons. Let me select it once again. We could try to keep bridge in Rollingen, place one platoon over here, and 2 platoons down south over here. So we will keep under fire control west of Killingen, also those 2 bridges, and the objective itself, if possible. Of course, this is not perfect position, but looks like it's decent enough. On the other hand, I could try to deploy over here and try to capture those ridges here. Um, but it is dangerous. First of all, there is no retreat path for them. We would need to retreat back to the bridge itself, and that's the open terrain. We would be slaughtered if we tried to cross bridge back and fall back either to Rulingen or to Neustadt area. If we select northern road to Rulingen, we cannot cross it because the bridge is destroyed. So we would need to defend in the town itself on the well, now I could say eastern bank, but actually, let's define the mouth of the river. So the mouth of the river is somewhere here, which means that that's the right bank and that's the left bank. Okay, so we would need to defend on the left bank of the river. and we couldn't cross back, which would endanger us, and probably we will be facing a complete slaughter, obliteration by the enemy forces. I don't think I should consider such a plan. As I've said in previous scenarios, I'm trying to treat all those scenarios as real ones. So if I think about my men fighting in such terrain, I wouldn't like to send them for death. Absolutely not, especially while being a NATO country. It wouldn't work. Of course, being encircled in the city, trying to keep the urban area, maybe it depends on the situation. If I have reserves preparing for counterattack, sure, why not? If I want to slow down enemies, absolutely yes. But in that case, I suppose that could work. We could inflict some casualties, but since we cannot retreat from that area, mm, that's not the best idea. Even if we can get under nice firing positions, the enemy forces coming that way to Killingen. So let's start deploying my troops. First platoon over here, as I've said before. Second platoon as well. Do I have four platoons? Wait a minute. Is that four? Okay, so four platoons per company. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's HQ. That's the first platoon. That's the second platoon. That's the third platoon. And that's the fourth platoon. Okay, so that's the four platoons per company, and also organic air defense within the company itself. Okay, that's that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The question is what we want to do with them now. So we can, of course, two platoons stationing over here, trying to keep under fire control the objective. That's that's the goal. But also we can place some rest of my units, for example, screening the northern approach from here. Let me turn on line of sight. That's the air defense. Okay. Hmm. Quite interesting. Or we could also station in Rulingen itself. And that could also work quite nice. So two platoons, first and second, uh, in the forests west of A7 Autobahn, north of the most northern objective. And the fourth platoon stationing in Rulingen itself. Sounds like a plan. Then we can also grab HQ. HQ can either station in Neuenheim. Let me take a look. Oh yes, absolutely. So HQ stationing in Neuenheim, 8 hexes to HQ from that location, and from Rulingen 9. Okay, that's also Rulingen. I'm just saying about where is the name placed on which hex. Okay. And then we have also our Stinger team section. And I will place you over here on top of that little ridge at the center down south of Neustadt. Perfect. That sounds like a plan. Okay. Wow, yeah. We needed 14 minutes to figure it out. Okay. So now let's maybe select SOPs. Why not? I'm not going to use the predefined ones. I'm going to do it by myself. Tactical initiative slide. I don't want them to change positions because, as you can see, there's plenty of open ground around, and I don't think AI makes the best choices. So I'm more focused on. This is not the directive control, but how is it called? Oh God, I completely forgot. That was mentioned by Robert Leonhardt, The Art of maneuver book. Mm, so directive control is when you give basic orders to your units, and then on those lower levels like platoon, section, or even sometimes even company, units make their own decisions based on geography, topography, terrain, overall situation, and that's called the directive control. And the other one is, oh my goodness, I forgot. But it means that you are strictly controlling where your units are moving. For example, you are a battalion commander and you decide where platoon from second company is moving. Like, so in general, you're commanding your units in very low details, which is mm, actually not great. But since here I know everything about terrain and the situation, I think I can let myself do it. Otherwise, I could try to simulate situation where I'm trying only to uh, di- directive control my units. So I give the basic orders, I deploy them in rough areas, uh, and I give them a lot of initiative to decide. I could do it, but I think that's not the purpose of that game tool. Since it's supposed to teach you how to manage platoons, sections. Uh, Usually, it's not a single person using that tool, but it's multiple of them, like all platoon commanders from the company and the company commander itself. So they are thinking about different decisions. So it's like platoon commander is commanding its own platoon, making decisions per platoon. So it's something like that. It depends on the level, right? So in case of that scenario, it's medium-sized scenario. It's hard to gather uh, all of platoon commanders. Like I don't know how many. We have four per company. We have here three companies, so it's 12 platoon commanders. That would be quite problematic. But for example, for such scenario, you can gather only company commanders, and that would be also sufficient. So okay, either way, let's set up SOP. So as I've said, tactical initiative slight, acceptable losses, uh, moderate, I think. Preferred standoff range, no, 0. Fire discipline, maximum range. We are trying to maximize our effective range of Milan's rounds. It's only 2 kilometers, unfortunately, comparing with TOW2's missile. Um, I think it's about 3.5 kilometers or 3 kilometers 750 meters. It's almost twice. But yeah, we are having Milans in that case, so it is what it is. Fire discipline maximum range. Relocate when? Actually, I could think about after all fire missions or after each fire mission, but again, I'm worried that they will try to retreat into open terrain, and it doesn't make much sense to me. So I prefer to stay them as they are, and I will decide what to do when we encounter the enemies and we will need to, for example, replenish ammunition. Okay, so that's it. Now movement. I think for now concealment is our main preference. We are not going to use roads too much unless we decide to counterattack somewhere. So we will update it. And passengers disembark at range 1 from end of path, and I will also increase 1 from enemy, just in case if I forget that later. Mm, Hopefully not, but as I've said, just in case. And of course, carriers when empty support passengers. That's our main weaponry. Either fortunately or unfortunately, it depends. I'm not very enthusiast of uh, using. I mean, mechanized infantry is relying heavily on their IFV's capabilities, and I'm wondering whether that's the correct approach or not. Of course, it depends on the tasks, uh, but it's quite problematic because if you lose those vehicles, you you are rendering your infantry quite useless. I mean, they are not mobile then. They become kind of light infantry, but their position is usually based on IFV's capabilities. So if that happens, your infantry is rendered useless because, first of all, most of the time they don't have enough weaponry, uh, in that case ATGMs, to deal with enemy assets from a long range. And at the same time, they are quite vulnerable because uh, they are holding the positions which are more designed for IFVs than for infantry. So preferably you would need to retreat, change your position, and find in the terrain which is preferable for the infantry. But that's quite problematic because usually you are not in such position, and changing quickly your position is also impossible because you don't have vehicles to do so. So yeah, that's the problem. I feel like when mechanized infantry loses its IFVs, it becomes quite, maybe not useless, but not as effective as it could be. Like for example, light infantry, which is very effective if placed properly. Uh, so that's yeah that's it. That's another off topic, by the way. Here we have resupply trigger, and I think we are going to decrease it down to 15. I never remember how key ammunition is calculated for Milan's tows and other weaponry, so we will need to control it manually. But yeah, I'm decreasing it down to 15. Of course, I suppose we cannot again change that recover to. I will, for example, mark 75. If I apply, if I close it, it will disappear. But either way, I will propagate that default SOP for all of my units of same type, but I will select for now only a second company. So first platoon, second platoon, third platoon, fourth platoon, and you guys from the third company, I will uncheck you. Boom. Perfect. And also apply to this and later unit orders. Now I have to go through all of those units. Oh, first of all, let's change it to hold. Let's get some defensive bonus. Hold. And that's the second. Wait a second. That's the first platoon. Edit. Uh, Default SOP. Apply to this and later unit orders, please. Okay, that's done. Now the second platoon. Let's edit it. Default. All looks good. Apply to this and later unit orders. So the hold is updated. Yes, sir. And now third platoon. We are changing it to hold. Apply. Edit. Boom. Apply to this and later unit orders. Correct. And the fourth platoon. Hold, default, apply to this and later unit orders. Perfection. Everything is correct. Okay, beautiful. Now let's go to our organic air defense section. Let's edit SOP, default, tactical initiative, generous. I don't know. Moderate, I think. It's again about changing position. If they decide to go off from that ridge, we will lose line of sight, and again, it will be rendered quite useless. So I think tactical initiative moderate is fine. Or actually, no, I'm switching it to slight. Acceptable losses minimal. I don't want to lose them. Preferred standoff range 1 hex. Actually, I can even give 0. If enemy forces penetrate our lines, I will immediately start retreating them. So it doesn't really matter at that point. Fire discipline, of course, maximum range. Relocate when. Hmm. After receiving any fire, we could. On the other hand, do we need to retreat? I would prefer to hold that position as long as possible, because the main goal of that unit is to provide air defense capabilities. So I'm switching that to never, and we will check how it will play out. Usually, it's hard to destroy such units because they reflect very low signature. They represent very low signature. They are of low mass. Uh, so yeah, it's usually really tough to spot them. I think you've noticed that while we end the scenario and we see enemy scout units, they also represent very low signature. So we are also unable to spot them, even if we have plenty of reconnaissance units in the area. So okay, relocate whenever. Movement preference concealment, correct. Passenger disembark, one from end of path, no, zero in that case. We are trying to maximize speed of that unit. They are using Unimog trucks, so lorries maybe. So I think zero from end of path is correct. Carriers when empty, of course, hide nearby. I don't think Unimogs can even support us unless someone has an idea how to do it. Resupply trigger. Oh, here we are going to drop it down to 10%. We have 8 rounds. Yeah, I think 10% is correct. But also, I never remember how it works, so we will need to check it manually when needed. Of course, we are applying to this unit only. In that case, applied to all units of same type. I think to all Stinger teams sections. Not for Gepards for now, because I don't know how I'm going to use them, but certainly for all my Manpat or Stinger sections. Boom. And apply to this in later unit orders. This screen for now, we are going to change it to hold to get some defensive bonus. Let's see, hold. That looks correct to me. Perfect. Let's close that, and we are left with HQ. HQ consists of two Marders, Unimog, Kubel. So let's edit your SOP. Default tactical initiative generous. I think so, yeah. Acceptable loss minimal, correct. Preferred send of range 4 hexes, which is 2 kilometers. I think yes, that makes sense. Maybe we can even 6 hexes. Let's try 6 hexes. Why not? Fire discipline, maximum range if possible. Absolutely. Relocate when after receiving any fire, or maybe direct, or any losses. Yeah, why not? Mm, or if they decide to bombard me with artillery after receiving any fire. I don't know whether that makes sense though. And again, they will select the path automatically, so this is quite annoying. Uh, After taking any losses, okay, that's fine. Or maybe direct fire. I don't know, is artillery fire regarded as direct fire? I don't think so. Okay, the direct fire. Movement preferences, I think both concealment and roads. Passengers disembark at range 1 from end of path and 1 from enemy, just in case. Actually, we have only headquarters. I don't think it makes sense to. Now let's decrease it down to 0 in both cases. We are again relying on 2 tracks and 2 martyrs, so I don't think it really matters in that case. Carriers from the empty support passengers. Well, martyrs, yes, but Unimogs, I don't think so. And resupply trigger at 25%. Okay, let's keep it for now. 25 doesn't really matter, I suppose. Let's apply to this unit only, to this and later unit orders. Apply to all units of same type, and we have plenty of HQs. I think I will cancel it for now. We'll do it manually for each unit because I have no clue. Actually, those orders for HQ should be shared. Uh, and as I've said, it doesn't really matter though for your units, for HQ units. How is SOP said? They are not combat units. They are only supposed to provide radio communication between your units. If you decide to change the orders, it all depends on how quickly your HQ can process them um, and push forward. Mm, yeah, I think that's it. I don't need to think about that much. We can though switch it to hold, so we'll get some defense bonus as well. It's always nice. Would be cool to have that information specified, but looks like it's not. So it is what it is. Now I'm thinking about those 6 hexes. No, I want 6 hexes because if we really encounter enemy units, they will try to push as quickly as possible to be able to destroy our HQ. So 6 hexes around 3 kilometers should provide me enough time to react. Okay, let's close it. Boom and boom. And looks like I have 32 minutes almost. Well, we've managed only to deploy single company and its HQ on one direction, and we are still left with one, two, three, four different companies. Okay, I think that's it. As I said before, that's going to take a lot of time because of our methodical approach, if I can call it like that. So I hope you enjoyed today, and hopefully see you in the next one where we'll continue deploying our units. We'll focus next time on the third mechanized infantry company, and we will see how it will go. So once again, thank you for today, and see you next time. Goodbye.